Welcome to Truth and Company Boxing Podcast, another segment of 20 random questions. I'm your host, John the Truth Dioria, and tonight's guest is professional boxer Miguel Cruz. How you doing, Miguel?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better now, buddy.
I appreciate taking time to come on.
Of course, man. How can I say no?
So, look, I know some of the fans know you've been retired for a few years now. So, what exactly are you still doing in boxing? Are you do you still train? Are you coaching? What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm gonna start training now. I mean, I've been training. I always stay in shape. But I'm gonna start training fighters. Like that's ultimately what my goal would be. I kind of decided to hang them up, but I definitely, bro. Boxing is a forever thing. It's not something that you do, like if you love it. And somebody told me this a long time ago. It's just a forever thing. It's not something that you just fight. If you really love the game, like it's a forever thing.
Okay, and now that you just brought that up, some people might not know. I don't know. Hopefully, it's not too personal for me to ask. And maybe there's no actual reason. Maybe you just retired to retire, but you retired with 18 wins and 1 loss. And the last time you fought, you actually won. A lot of boxers don't retire in that situation. So was there a big reason behind that, or you just said, that's it?
There was a reason. So what happened was, it was just a bad luck kind of thing. It was just God told me, it's time to just chill, bro. I have been doing it for a really long time. Obviously, like my goal was to become a world champion. I got fucking close, man. I think this the cards didn't play in my favor. For that Josecito fight, that was the world title eliminator to fight Keith Thurman. And I think under better circumstances, I would have beat him. Or at least I would have put out a much better show. But, it wasn't my night. It was what it was. I fought again, won. I got the fight against Andre Berto, right? I got offered that opportunity. I was 100% ready. I think I would have stopped him within 3, especially during that time. Then he tore his bicep on Monday. I had a fight on Saturday. He tore his bicep. And, bro, I was just devastated, right? I was disappointed. So what happened was Luis de Cubas, he called me after the fight, and he told me, we have a fight opportunity for you. I think it was, let's say I was going to fight him in December to put a date. Let's say he gave me a date maybe in February or March or something like that to fight a guy named Francisco Santana. He was probably 21-7 at the time. Honestly, I was going to walk right through him. But training for that fight, I tore both of my labrums, so both of my shoulders. I had to do surgeries on both of my shoulders. And I also tore my left bicep. So once that happened, that took me out of the game for such a long time, that once, things got back into the flow, the truth is just I lost a lot of strength on that left arm. So for me, I never really fought for money or anything like that. I really just focused on becoming world champion. So when now I'm like not being busy, I haven't fought in this many years, I got to come back after 2 shoulder surgeries, and my body's really, truly not the same. It's not that I'm old or anything like that. I was 29. It just, shit happened, you know what I mean? So I just decided there's no reason to go in there and just take punishment just to take punishment or for money.
So basically you got forced into retirement due to injury.
Yeah. That's just what happened. So I just decided that instead of forcing a fight out of, you know what I mean? I just decided to not. Bro, boxing is a serious sport. And if I'm not 100%, why the fuck am I going to do it? That's how I felt.
No, I appreciate you being willing to talk about that. I wasn't exactly sure what happened. And I don't think
I've actually come out in public and told anybody about it. I was kind of embarrassed for a really long time. But it just is what it is now. At this point, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the sport. It happens. I mean, you're not the only guy it's happened to. So I was just curious because I knew that you were kind of on a roll, and then you were 18-1, and then you had a win, and then all of a sudden it was like you were gone. and it was
Yeah,
like,
no, I was a bad boy for sure. It happened. I was really aiming for Keith Thurman. That was my main objective. That was my main goal. That was the person I really wanted to fight. Obviously, like the situation happened how it happened, especially now looking at the welterweight division how it is today. Obviously, there's like a lot of openings for new opportunities now. Spence being out, things. The panorama is completely different. So it would have been really interesting to be a part of that mix. But at the end of the day, that just wasn't in the plans for him, brother. That's just how it was.
okay, so you ready for these random 20 questions?
I'm absolutely ready, bro.
All right, question 1. How did you get involved in the sport of boxing?
So I've been wanting to box since I was like 6, 7, 8. My father, he was a doctor, so bro, I wasn't somebody who needed to box. He didn't let me box. Um, he put me in Taekwondo, and he told me if I got my black belt that he would let me box. So I worked really, really hard. I competed in nationals in Taekwondo. I won the state championships in Taekwondo. Honestly, I fought like 74 times in Taekwondo, and I only lost 3. And then as soon as I got my black belt, probably the same day, I gave it to my father, and I was like, "Yo, Dad, I want to box now. You promised me, right?" So he took me to the gym for the first time, and it was a completely different ball game. As soon as I started boxing, I lost my first 2 amateur fights, but I started boxing at 13, and then from then on out, I got a new trainer, and then that was it. Like I won my first. I beat the guy that beat me in my first fight as soon as I got a new trainer, and then it was history after that.
Okay. Question 2. Tell me your boxing round, your Mount Rushmore of boxing, your top 4 guys that you like.
Top 4 guys that I like or that I think are the best.
No, well, I mean, you can say that everybody has their own opinions of their favorites and stuff. So
Favorites. Okay, well, one of them has got to be Trinidad, obviously. Felix Trinidad has got to be one of them. Muhammad Ali's got to be one of them. Sugar Ray Robinson's got to be one of them. And then that 4th, I think, is Sugar Ray Leonard.
Okay. Also, I know you're a Gotti fan too. You like Arturo Gotti too, right?
I love Gotti, bro. I love Gotti, but I can't put him in with Mount Rushmore though. He's a good
fighter.
He's a good fighter, but nah, he's not a Mount Rushmore guy.
He was an exciting fighter.
Exciting fighter, yeah, but not a Mount Rushmore.
He might be in the top for in the top 10 for most exciting fighter.
No, he might be number 1 for most exciting, but not the best.
Okay. Question 3. What advice do you give a kid that wants to become a boxer?
Man, what advice? I would tell him, like, man, like, you should probably pick something else, bro. Like, honestly, I would probably look at the kid and be like, do you really, really, really want to do this? If it's an amateur, I would tell him to definitely give it 100%. You have to dedicate your life to it. It's just not something that you could do part-time, even as an amateur. You really got to dedicate your life to it. It's something that's going to take away from everything. I would tell them it's something that's going to pretty much limit your childhood if you're a kid. You're not going to go to proms. You're not going to go to dances. You're not going to go to parties. You're not going to have fun. There's a lot of things you're going to miss out on if you really want to take this serious and even be half good. So I would tell him to really think about if he really wants to do this, because it's not something that you're gonna have a bunch of friends and you're gonna get a bunch of recognition, especially not in the amateurs. You're gonna be alone. It's not a team sport. You're not gonna have your buddies on your team supporting you. You're probably gonna be just you, maybe a couple of teammates that you have on your boxing team, your coach, and maybe your family. That's about it. So it's a lonely game. But if you really, really want to do it, you have to dedicate everything to it. That's what I'll tell them.
Okay. Question 4. Did you have a pre-fight meal that you always had to eat before a fight?
No, I didn't have a particular fight meal. I like pasta. Everybody obviously pasta's good. Pasta, I would say like I would probably have that most of the time. I would probably have like a fettuccine alfredo. That was probably like what I have for most of my fights. Something like that, like something like a pasta type base.
Okay. Question 5. What's something that your boxing fans don't know about you?
Something that my boxing fans don't know about me, man. Let me see. I would say that yeah, like I never really needed to box, man. Like I really didn't need to box. Like I was pretty well off as a kid. Like I boxed against everybody's will around me. You know what I mean? I grew up in the suburbs in Lake Mary. Florida, and then I would go to the hood to box because that's just where they boxed, you know. So I would put myself in very harsh environments to fight these kids that were badass, you know, these badass black kids from Pine Hills, badass little Puerto Rican Mexican kids, but those kids were coming from nothing. But I had to be around those kids to become great or to become good. So I would just say that's something that they don't know. That I really didn't need to box. It was something that I chose to do out of my own will.
Okay. Question 6. What is the craziest or the funniest story that ever happened between you and a boxing fan?
Man, I remember one time I was I was walking out to a fight, and oh man, no, I got one. Let me, I fought Josecito Lopez, right? I fought Josecito Lopez, and I was walking in the and I was walking in the hotel rooms, and his entourage. There was a bunch of his friends. They were just talking shit. And then when we got into the fight, we were fighting, and it probably was like round three, round four, and he hurt me with an overhand right to the temple, becoming good. And in that middle of that round, I remember like it was yesterday. One of the guys that was Josecito's buddy, it was ringside right there. He was like, "Welcome to the big leagues, boy." And then I'll never forget that motherfucker. When he said that shit, I was like, "This motherfucker, man. It was the big leagues for sure." And I'll never forget that. Like that even during the fight, no matter I heard him. So I'll never forget that motherfucker, man. It was an experience for sure.
All right. Question 7. What's something that you're very passionate about besides boxing?
Ah, man, I love salsa dancing, bro. I love like spinning girls like boom 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 doing the salsa. I love the footwork. I love dancing. I feel like it's very closely related to boxing. I really started taking dancing serious a little bit after boxing, but I wish I would have taken it more serious before, because the salsa footwork is so good for boxing because it's frontwards and backwards, and honestly, it's good for boxing. So I would recommend dancing lessons for anybody who wants to box. I think it goes really, really well. I know Sugar Ray Robinson was a tap dancer, so dancing and Lomachenko also danced. I think dancing and boxing is almost the same thing. So I would really, really highly recommend, and I know a lot of fighters give me shit for telling them this. Take some dance lessons. It would probably be good for you in your social life and really good for you in the boxing ring.
All right. Question 8. What's something that's still on your bucket list?
Something that's still my bucket list, man. I gotta go to Japan, bro. I gotta go to Japan. Still haven't been there, so I think 2025. I think we're gonna go to watch the track world championships in Japan. So I'm looking to cross that one off pretty soon. We're gonna
Okay.
go.
Question 9. How has boxing affected your life in a positive manner and in a negative manner?
On a positive manner, there's so many things, man. I've met so many people. I made plenty of money. I made plenty of connections. If I decide to when I decide to pursue it as a trainer, I have so many connections. I'm so like infiltrated already in that world. I've seen so many people grow from nothing to something. I'm really proud of a lot of guys that have done a lot, with their careers. The negative side is the physical part, man. It stays with you. It's not something that goes away. Like there are things like my neck, you know what I mean? There are things in my wrists. There are things that boxing is a forever thing. It's not something that like the damage that you take in the ring when you're in your 20s, and you know what I mean, you're young. It really does come back when you're in your 30s and probably in your 40s too. So the more punishment you're taking in your 20s and 30s, you really got to be careful, because when you're fighting and the adrenaline is pumping and you're not feeling nothing, and probably a couple of days after you're not feeling nothing. But there's a lot of things that happen over time that people don't really are not aware, or they're not aware of in their 20s. So I would say that there are some things, there are some kinks, that made me think like, ooh, boxing is a little bit more dangerous than you think. It really is.
All right. Question 10. What's your opinion of the YouTubers and the internet influencers getting involved in the sport of boxing?
I actually think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a really beautiful thing. I think they're not good. Like outside of Jake Paul, who's limited himself. He's limited. He's good. He's the best out of all of them. He is truly limited. If you look at it in a world championship caliber type of view, if you're looking at him like, okay, like take away Jake Paul, take away the name, take away the YouTube, take away the followers. Let me watch his boxing. I watched his fight against Nate Diaz. Yeah, he beat him, but there's a lot of things that he does in the ring, a lot of mistakes that he makes in the ring, a lot of what is that called? Telegraphing that he does, a lot of uh, just body language that he shows when he's tired, a lot of things that he does that is very green still. But I think he brought a lot of eyes to the sport. He brought a lot of young fans to the sport. He's putting a lot of great cards. Look how we did. Amanda Serrano never got paid like that, and everybody on his undercard, they're all legitimate boxers. So he's giving a platform to a lot of legitimate boxers who would have never had that platform fighting for PBC, for Top Rank, because nobody would know who the fuck they are. You know what I mean? So I do think that he's bringing a whole new crowd, and I don't think anything that has to do with bringing more views to boxing is a bad thing.
Okay. Question 11. Who was your favorite opponent to fight?
Like the person that I fought, that was my favorite throughout my 9 fights.
Yeah, out of your 19 fights, when you look back and when you go, damn, that was a good one. I really enjoyed fighting him.
Bro, the most fun I ever had, I have always had fun fighting. Anytime I ever fought, I always remember waking up the next day, no matter how tough it was, just been fuck, that was so much fun. But the funnest fight I ever had was the Sammy Figueroa fight. I think there was like a lot of personal stuff going on in that fight. He was probably the best fighter, the most complete fighter at the time that I ever fought. He was the most difficult fighter that I ever fought. It was probably the best fight I ever had for the crowd. Some people think I lost, some people think I won, some people think it was a draw. But it was just one of those really good fights that I just had a lot of fun in that fight. And yeah, he's like a brother now. He's always. It was just an incredible fight. That's one of my favorite ones.
Okay, question 12. Who was the hardest puncher you've ever faced in the ring in a fight or sparring?
Oh, the hardest? It was this guy. The thing is like there's just two of them really, and they weren't in fight in a professional. I would say nobody. I probably got hurt twice as a professional, but the hardest person that ever hit me was this guy who was he was a 2016 Olympian, I think. I don't know if he qualified, but he ended up moving up to 178. His name was Josue Barreto. He's here in Puerto Rico. He was a lefty. He was a no-name guy, man, honestly. But he hit me with a straight left hand, man. It hit me so hard that I didn't feel no pain or nothing like that. It felt like it felt good. Like it felt like like almost like just want to go to sleep. Like yeah, this felt nice. Like it felt like that's how hard he hit me. And then he dropped me on the ropes and it bounced, but it felt good. It felt like like I want to go to sleep. Him and then Brian Perella. Brian Perella also had just freaky power. He had freaky power.
Okay, question 13. If the mayor of your city was willing to name something after you, what would you want named in your city after you?
Oh man, you gotta name the boxing gym after me, bro. You gotta name the boxing gym after me. I don't want to be known for nothing else. So yeah, let's call it that.
Okay. Question 14. If you had to spend 30 days in a jail cell, what comedian would you choose to be your cellmate?
Dave Chappelle. What the fuck? Dave Chappelle is the Dave Chappelle. Yeah, Dave Chappelle.
Okay. Question 15. If you died and were reincarnated as an animal, what animal would you want to come back as?
Interesting question. Oh man, I think I would come back as like Yeah, this is a good question. I would probably I'll probably be like I'll probably be a wolf. I'll probably be a wolf. I'll probably be a wolf.
Okay. Question 16. If you could only eat one fruit the rest of your life, what fruit would you choose?
Have you ever heard of a canepa? You probably haven't, bro.
No.
No, man. Okay, well, damn, I wish I could give you some so you understand me. They grow over here in the Caribbean. Let me see, but outside of that, probably like a blackberry. Blackberries are good. Blackberries.
Okay. Question 17. If you could go back in time to your younger self to tell yourself some advice, what age would you go back to and what would you tell yourself?
I would go back to 19. 19. No. Yeah. I will go back to 20. I will go back to 20 and I would tell myself to go pro now. That's what I would have said. I would have said go pro now. I think I just missed the Olympics in 2008, right? I was 17. I was at 141. I was a monster. I would have been really hard for Jonathan Gonzalez to beat, really hard at that time. But my parents had just got through a divorce, so I moved to Puerto Rico. I didn't know anything about how to like qualify. I was a state champion in Florida at the time, but I missed out on the trials over there because of the divorce. And then I moved to Puerto Rico and I missed out on the trials here because I just didn't know where to be. And the gym that I was training at was in Aguadilla, and they were just a rinky-dink gym. I was just trying to. I ended up figuring out that I had to move to the metro area to actually box in the national tournaments. So I missed all these national tournaments. But at 20, I had just won the Golden Gloves in Florida, and I think my mindset was I wanted to go back to Puerto Rico to qualify for London. And the person who I had to beat was Pritchard Cologne at that time. And in my heart, I love Pritchard. I'm not trying to, whatever, didn't say nothing bad about him ever. But in my mind, in my heart, I felt like I could beat him. And so that's what I did. I waited around and I tried to qualify for London. And then before I got to fight Pritchard, I got robbed. And then Pritchard went. So I never got that opportunity to fight him. So I missed out on that Olympics, and then I missed out on the 2012 Olympics, and then I turned pro. I came runner-up. I was an Olympic runner-up and all that stuff, but I think it was I should have just turned pro at 20.
Okay.
And if anything, the younger, it just would have been better.
Question 18. Have you ever had to save someone's life?
Oh, man. Yes. My grandmother, she right here in this house, she cracked her head open on the floor and just bleeding everywhere. She was by herself and she couldn't help herself up because she was so old. She couldn't push herself up. She was bleeding. Her head was split right down the middle, and she was bleeding out. She was bleeding, just gushing. And then I just got back from the boxing gym. I pulled up to the house. She was just yelling. So when I get out the other way, what the hell is that noise? I get in the house. She's just a pool of blood on the ground, and she could like barely breathe in it. So I had to pick her up, put her on the couch. There's blood all over her face. I had to call my aunt and uncle. Everybody had to come get her. And I mean, I don't know if I saved her life, but she thought I did, so I'll take it.
So sounds like you did. All right, question 19. What's the last music concert you went to?
I just went to a concert. I just went to let me see, man. I go to concerts kind of all the time now. I want to say it wasn't Bad Bunny. I think it was this guy named Raul Alejandro, who's like he's big in Puerto Rico. He's big in Puerto Rico, but I'm not sure you know him, bro. But I bet you where are you from?
No, that's okay.
Where are you from?
Minnesota. Up in Minnesota.
Yeah. I don't know. Also, you know Javante Starks. You remember him? Javante Starks is from Minnesota. There's a couple good fighters from Minnesota. There's a couple good fighters from Minnesota.
Oh yeah, no, I know Javante. Yeah, I know Javante.
Yeah, Javante Starks. You got what's his name?
All right.
Tall Shango James. Is he from Minnesota?
Yep, Jamal James. Caleb Truex.
Yeah, Jamal James is a great fighter, man. I wanted to fight him for a while. That would have been a great fight.
All right, question 20. If you died tomorrow, what would you want your fans, your friends, and your family to say about you?
Man, I want them to say that I had a heart. You know, that was a warrior. That I gave it all. That I did. That honestly, man, the way I looked at it in my 20s was like dying in the ring was an honorable way to go. I really did go in there thinking I was ready to die every time I stepped in. Um, so I live my life with passion. I live with my life with honor, and I live my life with, to the fullest. So I will hope that they saw that in me, that they saw that I was a warrior, that I had a warrior spirit, and that I had the heart of a lion. That's what I will hope that they say about me.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking time and coming on and doing the 20 random questions, man. I enjoyed talking with you. If there's anything you want to say to your fans or anything before we end, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you so much, bro. Thank you, John. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to my fans. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to my people. You're going to be seeing me around soon, of course. You'll see. I'm never going to leave the game ever. So we'll be checking each other soon, I'm sure.
All right. And hold on. And the truth has spoken.